What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience Podcast. Thank you so much for coming in back to the podcast, coming supporting your Capoeira school, supporting the Capoeira community. That's what it's about. Once we talk about community, we gotta support each other so that way we grow and we stay tight. It's that community without community is not community. So uh, I've been saying before that sometimes we have big uh, big events and we travel and then or whatever size of the event it is, but we travel, we connect, and traveling is a big part of my capoeira. I love traveling, I love connecting with the capoeira community, and I'm privileged to travel this coming week to a new friend from pretty much from different group, same group, doesn't matter. But we came pretty much from different communities, different capoeira communities. We grew up in different communities, and then we joined a community here in the US, trying to make our own little community, bring a little piece from little heart, a little piece of our heart to here and share here with the capoeira community. So please let me introduce you to Graduado, Arrepiado. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, of course, of course. Just wanna get connected with people, know capoeira story, know your experience, and I know I'm gonna go visit you guys very soon, and I'm gonna bring some of my guys too.
I'm super excited to have you guys. Yeah, the event is coming up in a week and a half here. Whew. I should probably tie those cords.
Hey, oh, you guys are in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. How many people total for that switching up? I don't know if you.
Well, it's secret. I can't.
Oh,
know if I
cool.
can tell you that. That's more than 5, less than 10, somewhere
Okay,
there.
cool. Okay, let's keep it there. Let's keep it there. Let's keep the surprise a surprise. Awesome. And then when do you make the decision of being like, okay, let's have a batches out in 2021?
Oh, that's a really good question. So the pandemic's been hard for everybody.
Yeah, totally.
I wasn't running. I have a day job, so I work in IT, and then capoeira is something that I do on the side. So I don't have a school that I run, every day of the week, something like that. Usually it's just 2 days a week. I have
Nice.
classes usually on the weekends, and then during the week, Tuesdays or Wednesdays, something like that. And then the pandemic happened. Everybody was staying home, and so
Yeah.
I went down to one class a week, and
Oh,
then
man.
some people didn't feel comfortable attending.
Yeah.
And so it was really rough. And so the past few months we've been getting back up and going, and things have started to pick up. But I just kind of made the judgment call that, like, what is going to get my students who are coming back to class really excited about training?
For
It's
sure.
going to be having a batizado, having an event, connecting with people from the community here in the Midwest, a little bit further, bringing in my maestri from Miami.
Yeah.
There's always a lot more enthusiasm around the events than just
Yeah, for
around
sure.
classes, just because of
Yeah.
how the human mind works.
Yeah.
So that was what drove the decision. Is like, okay,
Nice.
it's relatively safe to travel, relatively safe
Yeah.
for folks who are vaccinated. And I think it's really going to help the school and help people feel connected to the broader capoeira community. So it feels like something that we really love. Plus, it gets really cold in Milwaukee. And so I didn't want to wait too long. Because if
Yeah.
I do the batizado in November, December, Mesh Andre, Miami is going to be like, I'm not going to Milwaukee in
That's too cold
December.
for
Are you
us.
kidding me? Yeah. So I was
Yeah,
like, okay, October's my last chance.
that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, because well, all super nice that down there in Miami, coming up here to a Midwest, he's like, and probably not.
Yeah.
He's
No, he usually has his batizado in December. And so I'm excited. December, like, I want to go to Miami. I want to go to his events. I
Oh, yeah.
don't want him to come up here.
Oh yeah, totally. Especially like December when it's too cold for us. Of course,
Oof.
yeah. Just take a little break and from the cold and when just
Yeah, exactly.
warm up a little bit. It's funny because this weekend I'm having Cabezown and he's in Miami. And the first thing he said is like, "Oh man, if it's gonna be too cold, don't bring me." And I was like, "Don't worry. I'll try to make it no during the winter."
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, I feel like the south of the country has to have their events in the wintertime, and in the summertime and the early fall, like the Midwest and like the north part of the country, we can have our events. That way it works for everybody.
Yeah. So everybody can visit everybody. Everybody takes a little break from things, especially cold.
Yeah.
Nice. And uh when do you cut the one class to one class for at the beginning of the pandemic or like kind of like halfway?
Mm, well, I don't remember exactly when it
Okay.
was. At first we canceled everything because everything was closed. We didn't know
Oh,
exactly what was happening. So for probably a couple of months, I just canceled classes altogether. And then it was when I started bringing classes back. I was like, well, okay, let's do once a week.
okay. In
Um,
person, everything was in person?
yeah, so we
Yeah.
did
Okay.
outside classes
Nice. Okay.
when it was warm. I don't even remember. Like this past year is a blur. We did a little
For
bit
a
of
lot of
everything.
people,
We
man.
did indoor with masks. We did outdoor with masks. We did outdoor without masks.
Yeah.
Or I had people wear masks when we were doing partner work, but not when we were just like doing agility movements down the
Okay.
line. So just a little bit of everything to try and be.
Yeah.
It's a
You gotta keep it
balance, right?
safe.
It's a
Yeah.
balance to say like to stay safe, but like also like knowing that for our physical health, for our mental health, like we need this community, we need this discipline to train capoeira.
100%.
Yeah, so finding the balance, and some people wish like we were a little bit more cautious. Some people were like, "Why are you being so cautious?" And it's like, well,
Yeah.
you can't make everybody happy, but I
Yeah.
wanted to keep the community alive.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in a community. How many? Can you hear me? Oh, hello.
I can
Yeah.
hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes. Okay, perfect. This internet is being flaky lately. Okay, perfect. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. All right, perfect. So yeah, and especially when we have small communities, how many capoeira groups are around you, or capoeira classes, not groups, but capoeira classes?
We so for there's one other Capoeira Angola group that
Oh,
trains
okay.
almost the same time as us. Otherwise, for Capoeira Regional or Contemporânea, it's just Nago in Milwaukee.
Oh, crazy. Okay, so same
Um,
thing for pretty much here in Indianapolis. It's just us.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. These small Midwestern cities, man. There's
Yeah,
just
I
not that much
know.
around.
I
In
know.
Chicago, we have Ashe Capoeira, Capoeira
Yeah, for
Brasil.
sure.
We have all those guys. And then in Madison, as you probably know, we have Omulu, we have Raízes,
Yeah,
and like a few other instructors who are giving classes. So there's a little bit more, but in Milwaukee, there's just not that much capoeira.
that's
So
crazy. Yeah.
um,
You're gonna keep the community and the fire alive, especially
yeah,
even if it's
exactly.
once per week. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but
we
now
gotta
we're
do
back
what
up to
we can.
twice a week. So
Nice.
yeah.
When do you get back to twice a week?
uh, it's a couple months ago.
Oh,
During
cool. Okay.
the so uh, what I did was when it was still like probably through the end of summer, I had my Saturday classes. So we're in a dance studio that's in the old Milwaukee Ballet space. It's
Okay.
beautiful wood floors, tall ceilings, nice
Nice.
lights, big mirrors. It's a beautiful space. So I've been there on Saturdays, since vaccines were available. And then they're not available on like Tuesdays, which is when I wanted to do my weekday class. So we've
Okay.
just been doing classes down by the lake, like Lake Michigan.
Okay.
And that lets us work on takedowns, work on acrobatics and stuff like that.
Nice.
But of course, it's getting colder. The days are getting shorter, and so now it's nighttime. When I'm having my
Oh
class,
yeah.
I'm not gonna make people train outside. So we just got an indoor space. It's in the same building, but it's a different room for Tuesday
Okay.
nights.
That's awesome.
So that's been 2 weeks. We've been doing that for 2 weeks.
That's awesome, man. Well, congrats on getting that space because
Yeah, thanks.
it's a little tricky to find the space. And because one time the place before where I was where I teach, because I also teach in a dance studio, they just went out of business and were like, hey, we're closing the doors. And I was like, God, man, why? And then I was like, well, that happens. Well, we gotta find another space for class. And then thank goodness I
It's life. You
found.
gotta adapt.
Yeah, exactly. And you just gotta dodge the bullets. I run and be like, he's gotta try. And then thank goodness I found these people that they own business dance studio, and they were like, "Do it, just do capoeira here. Why should we be looking for capoeira people?" I was like, "There you go, destiny is here." And then, man,
That's
we
awesome.
since there, and it's cool to find the support from somebody. And I don't know about you, but for me, for us here, is it has been hard to find or to get a place or rent the at least the floor from martial art places or for yoga studio. Dance studio always open the doors for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I when was it? 4 years ago, I was hosting my first batizado,
Okay.
and I was asking around for different spaces. I got connected to this job, like making us feel welcome for our first event, for our first batizado. I was like, cool, this is just, I'm gonna go with these guys. I'm gonna have my classes in their space, and they're always making sure everything works, that the mirrors are nice, there's a sound system, there's lights and everything. Plus, I take salsa classes on the side, so it's fun.
Nice. Nice. On the same space?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, that's pretty cool, man. How you like salsa?
It's good, right? So I've been doing capoeira for like 20 years,
Yeah.
and so you sometimes like forget when you've been doing something for a long time, you forget what it's like to be a beginner.
Yeah,
And
that's
so for
true.
me, starting salsa was like, oh, I really suck at this.
That's
This is
good.
good for me. This is good for
Yeah,
my
yeah,
ego.
yeah,
Now I don't
yeah.
suck anymore. Now I'm fine.
Nice.
But I love it. I love, moving to music.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, cool, man. That's nice. Do you think so? A couple episodes before, I had a Cigana, a wife of Monitor Peruca in North Carolina, and she's into dance and all that stuff. And we were actually talking about dancing. You think dancing improves your capoeira, or at least has been at least for the short term? Like, it's a little tricky because we've been doing it for longer than the dance.
Yeah, I mean, I would put it more the other way. I think, doing capoeira helped me learn to dance faster, I would
Oh,
say.
cool. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And it's not magical. It's just,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I think it's just the more you are in your body and you understand how your body works,
Yeah,
and the more you train, like, I don't know, the more you understand. And I mean, capoeira, right? We're not like right on beat, but we are
yeah,
moving in harmony with the music.
yeah,
Um, and so, plus, if you have rhythm, right?
yeah, yeah.
And I don't know how you can be a capoeirista and not have rhythm. You have to have rhythm to play berimbau, to play pandeiro,
That's
batabaque.
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To find the
Uh,
beats and the timing and all
yeah,
that. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I'm glad. I'm glad he's some salsa and learning now. Whenever we go to South America, you can get some salsa down there.
yeah. We'll see.
Nice, nice. And now, you mentioned something important before, that when you talk about the mental health, the is
Yeah,
especially now is crazy how, and many factors, right? We can this topic can be, we can go for hours and hours. But do you think there's some really good things that we can use capoeira for mental health, and what do you think about that?
yeah. I think different people are going to have different needs
Yeah, for sure, of course.
around this. I had this conversation with a lot of like coworkers and friends
Oh,
in the early
nice.
stages of the pandemic, around like, when is it responsible to go back to the gym, when is it responsible to like do these things, and I think, some people don't like to socialize very much, or maybe they have a partner that lives with them, or they have a large family, and so they're getting all their socialization needs met inside the house.
Yeah,
um, I have kids that are with me 50% of the time, but otherwise I'm single, and so it's just me in my house, and like I'm a fairly social person.
yeah,
So if I'm not interacting with people somehow, and like Zoom is great, don't get me wrong, I love it, but like there's
totally.
nothing that beats like having an in-person interaction.
100%. I agree with
And
you.
so whether it's dancing, whether it's capoeira, whether it's, just, and I know, you know, people might not like saying this, but this is why people go out to bars,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
totally. Oh, yeah.
To interact with people. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily smart, or that it was smart before people were vaccinated, but I understand it like psychologically. And people have this trade-off that they're having to be like, well, I could get sick, But if I don't go out, like I'm definitely going to get depressed, you
Yeah,
know? So it's
totally.
like, well,
Yeah.
for some people, like I understand why they made that decision. I don't go out to the bars too much because I don't like to be up late. You know, 10 o'clock is my bedtime. I'm tired.
Same.
But for my mental health, I'll speak for myself. Like
Yeah, for
capoeira is
sure.
just absolutely critical. Training is absolutely critical. If I'm not working out and just get kind of like, yeah, you know, I don't feel
Rusty.
good in my
Yeah.
skin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I noticed I hosted a Roda a couple of months ago, and I had some support from like my friends at Ashe Capoeira and some people from Madison. And
Nice.
just like walking into the studio and hearing the berimbau and like feeling the
Oh,
energy, I was just
yeah.
like, oh, I didn't realize how much I missed this.
Yeah. And
Um,
be like, oh, I
so
need this. Yeah. Nice, man. Nice, nice. My internet connection, sorry, my internet connection is a little messy right now. But so yeah, man. And I'm saying that about the mental health because, you know, and just to get to one specific topic, which is anxiety, right? A lot of people have anxiety issues and or experience anxiety. So I feel like capoeira can maybe help with this, and you know the social part of capoeira coming all together. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor on this topic, but from what I see and people, you know, I used to be a very extremely introvert kid, and I used to get very, very anxious when I got into the Hada. And I think, especially the first time in the Hada, we all go through that when you get so anxious and nervous and you don't know what to do. Everybody's looking at you, the music, the pressure of the instructor, and yeah, is I think capoeira can definitely with time help for people to release that tension and that stress.
yeah, I think that's right. I think, you know, the journey is probably going to be a little bit different for everybody, but
100%. Yeah.
I I definitely had something fairly similar. Not so much around anxiety, but just becoming a more social person and becoming more comfortable and confident. Um, but I think any kind of activity where people keep with it
Yeah.
and stay disciplined long enough that they reach a flow state, I think that's really critical. You know, it could be capoeira, maybe it's something else, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah. For sure.
the experience, like for me, of like going into the Hada, like unless it's like really high stakes game or something like that, but like I just lose myself. I'm not thinking like, oh, am I gonna do queixada? Am I gonna do whatever? It's like, no, I'm just flowing. My body
Yeah.
knows the moves. I've been training, and I just lose myself. And so even if I come into class with anxieties or thoughts or whatever, by the end of class, you know, I'm sweating. I kicked my friends a few times. They kicked me. It's all good, you know.
Yeah.
And so that, for me, that experience really is cathartic, really is emptying of those negative emotions, whether it's anxiety or something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And having, you know, usually at the end of the class, you just leave the space smiling and released of whatever it is, and you know, it feels good to leave a class where you just like you just feel good after.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also the now to the back of that, what I mentioned at the beginning, that we both come from different communities. How was the community when you grew up, or what is your story when you started
For
capoeira?
capoeira,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry to do this. I have
All good.
to
All good.
send my kids to downstairs.
No worries. No
Les
worries.
filles, hein, mettez là. Vous mettez vos chaussures, vous allez la voir, d'accord? Ok, bisous, ciao. Mwah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I watch my girls when my co-parent isn't able to pick them up from the bus. So
Oh, cool. Okay. Nice. Nice. I love French, man. I always wanted to learn French.
it's a good language. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very
Yeah.
flowy. It's really nice.
It's fun because I think it helped me with my Portuguese, because I think the way I describe Brazilian Portuguese is like if a drunk French person is trying to speak Spanish.
Nice. That's true, man. That's true. That's funny. That's true.
But yeah, okay. So my capoeira journey, I started with Capoeira Brasil
Oh, cool.
in Paris. So I
Nice.
grew up in France. My senior year of high school, I had a couple friends who watched Only the Strong, And they were
Nice.
like, hey, come try capoeira with us. It's this cool thing. I was like, okay, I'll try it. And so they tried it for like 2 months and then they quit. And I've been doing it ever since.
That's so funny.
Um,
Same thing that's happened, but one friend.
there you go. It's funny how that works. But yeah, I
Yeah.
started with Formado Bem TV in
Oh, cool.
Paris
Nice. Oh, so
back when he was
you know all the crew of like Faísca and all of them.
Faísca,
In Paul,
Saracuru.
Saracuru. Yeah. That's so
Yeah,
cool,
yeah, yeah.
man.
All those
Pocahontas.
guys, Deitado.
Nice. That's so cool.
Yeah, so I started back when Bem TV was estagiário. He had just switched over
Nice.
from Senzala. He had his red blue cord. Um, and then yeah, that's how I got my white yellow
Oh,
cord.
okay. Yeah,
My first
nice.
batizado in Paris with Paulinho Sabiá.
Nice.
And then I moved to the States for college, like right away afterwards.
Oh, dang.
Right? I know.
Yeah.
And so I moved to Minnesota and I was like, oh shit, there's no capoeira here. Pardon my
Yeah.
French. So I stopped training for a year until I found there was a small group with capoeira ginga.
Oh, cool. Okay.
There were a couple graduados, a couple actually, graduada Rosa and her husband Cravo. Were teaching classes in Minnesota. It was like a suburb of the Twin Cities, like 40
Okay.
minutes from my college. But I would drive down a couple times a week, take classes. I
Nice.
did a couple of batizados with them. I traveled with them too. I went to Utah, went to Colorado, went to Texas. So that was under Mestre Loca.
Okay. Nice.
And then, so I've been like a capoeira nomad. I'm on my fourth group.
Oh, nice. That's okay. We always
Um,
got to find where we feel fine, where we feel good.
I mean, and honestly, like I like to learn from everyone, but it
Totally.
was
Oh,
just a
yeah,
matter
totally.
of like, I live in the Midwest. I need to find anybody who teaches capoeira. So
Yeah.
I moved to Milwaukee in 2007.
Okay.
And at the time, there was a pretty strong. So I went to graduate school at Marquette University. There was a capoeira club at Marquette affiliated with Capoeira Maculele.
Oh, cool. Okay.
At the time, under Mestre Azulão.
Okay.
Azulão has since left the group. But I got to hang out with that crew. Mestre Fran came to some of our events. I did a couple batizados with them. And I just had a really good time. Loved that crew.
Nice.
But then when the Mestre left, it was sort of like, okay, well, who's going to teach classes?
Yeah.
And so what happened is Graduado Sapo from Capoeira Nagô, this like short, stout Italian guy from New York, was like, let me talk to Am I back? I'll just keep talking.
Oh, there. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
Yes.
I don't know if it's your internet or if it's mine.
No, it's totally my internet. Yeah.
Okay. But
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So Graduado Sapo basically converted the group with the consent from the masters from Capoeira Maculele to Capoeira Nagô. And I've been training with Nagô ever since.
Oh, nice.
So it's sort of the long, roundabout way I ended up here.
Yeah.
We've had a few graduados, a few instructors here teaching, and then my last instructor was Graduado Gafanhoto, who since moved to Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And so it's when he left, it was like, well, either Arrepiado starts to teach or there's no more capoeira. And I was like, well, I kind of have to teach now.
Yeah. Took the role and start like, and again, to like try to keep that fire alive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, it's a pretty nice journey because then, you also gotta find where you feel comfortable. Is and things happen. I don't see anything wrong with switching and as long as you learn, and I think that's the best part.
Yeah. Well, and I've met so many cool people along the way too. There's the capoeira community. I feel like the groups are like a scaffolding. They're
Yeah.
important for like promoting growth.
Yeah.
But the real capoeira is in the people. It's not in the group affiliations, if that makes sense.
Oh yes, totally. And I say here this many times. We can take the uniform and we can put street clothes. We're going to be doing capoeira. And people out there that they don't know anything about capoeira, when they see you, oh, these people do capoeira. They're not gonna be like, oh, this group. Oh, cool. They come from this group. They don't really care about that. They don't know anything about that. we are the one that, especially the old times when I started capoeira, was like, oh, you're from that group and I'm from this group or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's good. I think it's evolving in the right direction.
Yeah.
I just had this conversation with some of my students, right? Because we have our event coming up.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, how do I know like who I can't buy out? And I was like, well, okay, so it's important to know, especially going into an event, like generally speaking, in most groups that are sort of like based off of the Senzala model, right? If you see like purple, brown, black, red, like maybe, like if you're a first chord, like slow down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, but also just look, like even because, Ashe Capoeira.
Yeah.
They have a completely different color system. So
totally. Oh yeah, totally.
Yellow chord is professor. And you're like, oh, wait.
I can take this.
If it's Capoeira Brasil, Ashe Capoeira, but look, how are they playing? Yes. How are they moving? How are they carrying themselves? So like, I feel like even if you are at an event with uniforms, like, okay, you can memorize everybody's chord system, or you can just use your intelligence and watch.
Them. Yeah, totally. Oh, that's a very good point. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, especially one time I went to Fortaleza and I don't know Cordão de Ouro graduation system. And I was in the heart of Mr. Kim. And I saw a guy playing the tabaque. He had Cordão de Ouro uniform, tapping the shoulder. Hey, can I take the tabaque? He looked at me down and he's like, and I was like, okay, oh, sorry, man, or whatever. And then I went out and then my friend that was there, he was like, hey, let me introduce you to Mestre, blah, blah. And he brought me to that guy. And I was like, oh my God. And then I told him, he's like, hey, sorry, I don't know the graduation system. Oh, man, that was so embarrassing.
Oh, that's mortifying. That's terrible.
Yeah, man.
So this is actually what happens when I started with Capoeira Ginga, right? So I told you I was my white yellow chord with Capoeira Brasil, my very first chord. And I went to this class for Capoeira Ginga. And so usually, if the group goes from like raw chord or white chord to black or red, it's like, that like Senzala, Capoeira Brasil, Capoeira Nago, and a few others like kind of use, and the colors in between are like can be a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Right, but Capoeira Makurele, it's the same thing. That's one way. The other chord system is like when you start with green and you go to white, right? So Cordão de Ouro does this.
Yeah.
And then Capoeira Ginga does this. But Cordão de Ouro, they have the cordão.
Yeah.
Right? The braided chords. Capoeira Ginga uses just a regular corda.
Yeah.
But they use the colors from the Brazilian flag. So your first chord is green. And then when you're mestre, it's like white, green, white, yellow, white, blue, and then full whites.
How they've dyed the that's crazy.
So I came to my first class with a white yellow, and they're like, that's our mestre's chord.
Oh man, they're gonna beat you.
Because I was wearing the same chord as their mestre, and I was like, no.
Oh my god.
Let me take this off.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so funny. Oh, that and then the mestres, if they don't know the graduation system, they're gonna just beat you up. It's like, well, man, I just have a year here. What the hell? That's funny. It
has taught me a lot about other groups' graduation systems. So now if I'm going to somebody's event, like I Google it, I'm like, graduação Makurele. What is there?
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Because like Mestre Fran now for the Grandmaster for Makurele, he's full whites.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I see
because they do red for Mestre, but then it's red, white, and then full white for Grand Mestre.
Yeah. I think you say Ashe Capoeira does the same. I don't know their level too.
Mestre Barral also has a full white.
Yeah. And I told somebody asked me, my students, somebody asked me like, hey, but I know that I saw a video of somebody like a mestre with white core, and then what happened with the raw core? It's like if you put it together, it's a completely different color. The raw color is kind of like creamy-ish white, and the white core is white.
Yeah.
So you're going totally, you can totally see it different. And they were like, oh, okay, well, I,
But also watch.
yes, yes. I never mentioned that, but I'm gonna start saying that. It's like, well, man, just watch how they play. Like, it's so funny. And so how do you see the comparison? Do you miss a lot that having that like big community? Because I've seen videos and every time I watch a video, they get bigger and friends, and their community is so huge. And I keep everybody
Yeah.
keeps telling me that goes to friends, and it's like, man, it's just like, I don't know, I don't even know how many schools are there or capoeiristas in total.
Yeah. There was a huge explosion. And so it's hard because I sometimes like I beat myself up
Yeah.
because I wish I had stayed in Paris because my
Okay.
capoeira would be so much better. You know how like when you have somebody who's at your level or higher than your level pushing you, like you get better, you get better, you get
Yeah.
better.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
like I'm not very good, but I'm pretty good in the Midwest,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because there's just not a lot of capoeira. But then as soon as I travel, it's like, and so I wish I had stayed in Paris because if I had been training with Faísca, with Saracuru, with Pimpolho, with Deitado, with all those guys, like
Yeah.
my capoeira would be, right up there.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, maybe not quite cara de peixe, but like, you
Oh,
know,
okay. Oh, okay. He's a different. He's a different human being.
yeah. But so I feel like I kind of missed out, but so right now it's just a bragging thing, right? Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
started capoeira. Like I remember when Faísca was like orange cord,
Oh
you know.
wow, man.
Uh
There's this book that I have here. Is Mr. Paulinho's book, and I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think Sarakuru was orange quarter. I'm not 100% sure, but it's really
when
hard.
I met Saracuru, he was white orange.
Oh man, that's crazy. I gotta bring
Yeah.
Sarakuru to the podcast, man. He started telling that story on the podcast.
Yeah, one of the things that I honestly, one of my dreams for my group is we're a little bit in the hole because of COVID, but like
Yeah,
once
for
the
sure.
finances get better, like I want to fly Saracuru out for a takedown workshop.
Oh
I want to
man,
have him bring
yes.
people from Chicago, bring people from Madison, Indianapolis, if you can make it, and just
Oh,
be like, come
totally.
hang out with Saracuru because everybody's going to be like, yeah, of course I'm going to come,
Oh, totally, man, totally. Because I want to bring him too, and because I keep telling my students, man, Sarakuru, man, you gotta meet Sarakuru, man. You just gotta watch out. If you play close, you are down. If you play too far, you are down. So it doesn't matter. It's like just keep an eye open for Sarakuru.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I definitely want to bring him on the podcast. I told him a while ago I gotta go back to him, but that's awesome that you want to bring him. He's a really awesome level of capoeira.
And I mean, my dream is to have like, so I'm bringing Pequinés up from
Okay.
Miami. I would love to have like a really big event. Like I would love to have Karajipeshi come. I don't
Oh
know if
man,
anybody has brought
yes.
him to the States, but I'd love to bring Karajipeshi and Pequinés and Sarakuru and all these fucking rock stars.
Yeah.
I can stop swearing. Sorry about
No,
that.
that's
I'm just like
okay.
really passionate about these guys.
He's oh man. It's funny because I also told my students too and be like, man, because so how I met Faishka and Karajipeshi back in Venezuela, because my instructor met them when he traveled to Holland. When did you say you came to the US? Why do you remember?
2001.
Oh, okay, no. See, he traveled there in 2009 and came back to Venezuela in 2010.
Who was your teacher?
Instructor Guaraná.
Okay, yeah,
He
I don't know.
he's the one that brought Capoeira Brazil to Venezuela.
Okay.
Right now, my maestro Mindinho.
Okay, yeah, I know Mean Gene.
Yeah. So
Out in San Diego still?
he's in Palm Springs right now.
Palm Springs. Okay.
Yeah, but he has a school in San Diego. He has a couple of schools around.
I met Mean Gene a couple of years ago when I was in San Diego. I was like, "Is there capoeira here?" I was like, "Oh, there's a capoeira Brazil. I'm gonna go and see and hang out." So I took a class with him,
Oh,
and then
cool.
he stayed like 40 minutes after class, just like
Oh yeah. Master is a talker.
talking.
He loves talking. And if you have a question, you just gotta ask one question.
Yeah.
And so my instructor was like, man, you gotta meet these two guys. And I was like, who are they? Then he showed me a video of Faishka and Karajipeshi when they were green core, when Faishka was green. And I was like, man, these guys are badass. Totally, let's try to bring them. So we brought them to Venezuela. Man, I was scared of Karajipeshi, man. I was like, man, this guy, man, I don't want to play with him. And then, but he was so super, super cool people. You can hang out with them, talk to them. Super funny, he's super nice. And because how I grew up in the capoeira community, well, when I started, it was this like barrier in between instructors and beginners. So I was like, I'm
Yeah.
instructor, like, nah, I'm not gonna talk in too much. I'm not gonna talk too much to you. Or mestre, you talk to your mestre, to that mestre, you shake the hand, hey, I'm blah blah. And okay, cool. It's like, man, whatever. I'm gonna hang out with the beginners again. and always was the barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you you think there's a point for us in the capoeira community here in the US where we can be that tight, that tight in the sense of the cool thing about Europe is like everything is easy to travel, right? Because there's like trains. I never been in Europe. It's just things I hear. So it's like it's very easy to get different countries because it's easy to travel. But
Yeah.
here in the US, it's also easy to travel. It's people from Chicago can get easy there. Us from Indianapolis, we can get easy there. And I know it's a little drive, but it's doable. You
Yeah.
you think you
I
think we can get better?
I think it's possible. I
Or
think
tighter?
yeah. I think it's definitely possible. It depends on people being willing to travel, right?
Totally.
And
Yeah, totally.
prioritizing it. So I think what you're doing is awesome.
Oh, thank you, man.
Obviously, I
Thank you.
appreciate the support as you're coming up
Yeah, of course, of course.
in a couple of weeks. And this is something that I try to communicate to my students. Like, I can teach you some things, if you come to my classes, but like you're going to learn, so, like past a certain level, the most you're going to learn. So I actually heard Mespec Inés say this at the last Nago Batizado down in Miami. He's like, you have two mestres, here's Mestre Andre, and then you have the Roda.
Nice. Okay,
And
cool.
that way of putting it is like, okay, who are you going to learn from? You're going to learn from your mestre, from your instructor, of course. You're going to learn so much in the Roda too.
Yes.
And so the more Rodas you go to, the more different people you play with, the more you're going to learn. And in the US, where the capoeira community is kind of small and disconnected and fragmented,
Yeah,
you have to travel, you have to become that. So I see
totally.
that starting to happen with you and with some other folks. And I feel really lucky. I've got Contramesh Rafael coming down from Minneapolis.
Oh, cool, man. I love Rafael.
Yeah, he's good. And then it's about making the magic happen. And
Totally,
I
yeah.
have Graduado instructor now, Nick, with Nago down in Miami. I know he trains with Cabeção sometimes. Like, they go down to Miami Beach and flip around. Like, I feel like there's a lot of cross-pollination happening right now.
Yeah.
Here's what happened in Paris. You probably know more of the story that I do, but I think the way I remember, was it Deitado or was it Saracuru who told me this story? I think it was Saracuru who told me this. There was a batizado for Colibri in Chicago. There was a batizado a couple of years ago, and he was basically telling me, like, fairly early on, when like they were starting to get to like that red, blue, green cord level.
Yeah.
The mestres, the Abadá and the Capoeira Brasil mestres were like, oh, don't go there, don't do this, don't whatever.
Really? Oh, okay.
And then, I'm not to like revive old beefs. Maybe I'm getting the story twisted, but like there came a point where like these like new instructors realized, like, hey, I like that guy from another group. He's cool. I kind of don't care what my mestre says anymore. Like, we're just going to do a Roda. And maybe we won't have uniforms, and like we won't tell the mestres.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like letting old beefs die with like the old generation. Like, if they don't want to come to the Rodas, that's cool. We're going to do a thing because like we love capoeira and we get along well. So we're just going to build a community. I see some of that happening right now, where the sort of like the middle tier, like the smart mestres are collaborating with each other.
Totally.
The mestres who are short-sighted, they're like, no, we have to do it this way. They're not encouraging collaboration, and so their groups are just staying small. The groups that are growing are the groups for people who are like, yes, go travel, go train with them, go train with them.
Yeah, totally.
Because it benefits everybody in the long term.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And it's funny that you mentioned that, and I remember hearing something similar where they always like help each other, where like everybody. I didn't hear like with a specific way. I just hear that they always help each other, and they always came together, and they always I I heard many times where they used to do rodas without uniform, and everybody, different groups, just all together, and just let's just do capoeira. And that's also why it's so much level in Brazil, and sorry, in Paris, because it's when you have somebody like Karaji Peishi playing with a beginner or with or different groups, everybody feed each other, everybody learn from each other, and like Mr. Pekines said, from the Hoda. Yeah, man, it's really cool too, because I also saw, so in Venezuela, very very similar happened. We had Raíces do Brasil and we have Sensala, the two biggest group there. And one of our friend, he started with me, Alfalfa. You probably know him, Alfalfa.
Yeah. I know
Yeah,
Alfalfa.
yeah. So he started. He switched to Sensala, and then another couple of friends switched to Sensala. But we were already friends, and then we were like, hey, we don't care. The problem is with them, not with us. We're still friends.
Yeah.
And then one time we were like doing backflips in the grass, and all teachers were like, hey, why you guys hanging out together? It's Sensala and Raíces. And like, oh, okay, whatever. The problem is with you guys. It's not with us, man. We just friends already.
Exactly. Yep.
And then eventually we just young, drinking and having fun, and just like just playing capoeira in the grass together. And then our capoeira blue, our capoeira community went super super big. It's because of collaboration and helping each other and community.
100%. Yep.
And that's what I keep saying. I say this every time on the podcast, and I say on everywhere I can spread that collaboration, because that's how we grow. Is I learn from you, you learn from me, my students learn from you, and my students learn from your students, and it's just reciprocal relationship. Is in we cannot be a community with helping each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
100%.
it makes me it makes me happy to see people coming together.
For sure.
Yeah, and now to wrap it up, because I know you're busy too, and what would be single advice for the entire capoeira community? For whoever is listening to this, got your face.
Oh, single piece of advice. I mean, just keep training,
Nice.
keep spreading good vibes. Go to the rodas, host the rodas. I mean, it's been said before, and it's kind of trite, but like, that saying, like, be the change you want to see in the world. Like,
Totally,
hey,
yeah.
if you want capoeira, like, be the capoeirista you want to see in the roda. If there aren't rodas, like, host the rodas, start something. Yeah, it takes everybody, and it takes a measure of ownership. I think the real difference that I see between my students who like make progress quickly and the students who like make progress very slowly or not at all is the students who make progress quickly are the ones who are like, I love this, I'm going to research it on YouTube, I'm going to buy a berimbau, I'm going to practice, and
Love
that's
it.
not something that I can tell them. Like, I tell all my students, like, buy a berimbau, practice. Like,
Yeah.
I can tell them to do that, but like, they have to own it. They have to claim it for
Yes.
themselves. They have to be like, yes, this is my thing. I'm going to learn more about it. I'm going to learn from this instructor, but then I'm also going to learn when the time is right. Once I have my foundation, then I'm going to go out and learn a little bit from everybody.
Totally.
So my piece of advice is like, own it. It's yours.
Nice. I
It's
like
for
it, man.
everybody.
Yeah, I like it. It's funny that you said that too, because talking to Mestre Edan, he was like, you gotta do your homework, you gotta train at home too, you gotta do your part outside of our classes, so that way you can learn. You're going to learn even faster, and that's probably how. That's the way I learned biriba. Practicing at home, my mom always knocking the door. Hey, shut up, because I was playing biriba so late, and I was like, hey, it's too late. It's time to turn it down. And then same thing with the tabaque, pandero, and then he's as a kid or even teenager, whatever age, like you said, practicing and doing the homework outside of class is very, 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 very important.
Yeah, the people who are really motivated and who do that, they're the ones who end up with the high chords, with the who know all the cool songs, who are setting the tone, and then yeah. And it's so. I mean, I have like one or two students where like they really like it lights a fire under them, and they go
Yeah.
out and they're like, I saw this thing, what's this? They're asking questions, they're engaged. And I have other students who've been practicing for 4, 5, 6 years, and it's like,
Come on, guys. Yeah.
I'm thinking about this because I'm dying chords this weekend, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, if you've been training, you're gonna get one chord, and if you've just been kind of coasting,
Yeah.
it's whatever.
Yeah. It's like the same. Like I tell my students the exact same thing. It's just, you're not gonna get chords just because, you gotta be in class, you gotta train, you gotta practice and improve yourself. This nothing's for free, bro. Yeah.
So I'll tie it up maybe by circling back to the whole thing about salsa, right? Because when I started dancing salsa, I assumed like, oh, I'll take like a few months of classes and then I'll be able to go out and dance salsa. No.
Few months later.
What made the difference is actually the pandemic.
Yeah.
So everything was shut down. There weren't any classes, but I bumped into this woman that I met in the salsa community when I was still not a very good dancer. And she was like, hey, if ever you want to hang out and like dance. And I was like, yes, every Sunday, let's dance. So we got together every Sunday, and I was looking up like YouTube, like salsa combos, right? And we worked it out. And I have the videos, and like, that
cool.
doesn't look good. Ooh, that doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not dancing very well here, but I took videos of us dancing. And like, after 2020, like, I know it was a crappy year for lots of reasons, but like my salsa game like leveled up because I took ownership, right? I took ownership. I was like, hey, this is the thing I actually care about and I want to get good. So I'm going to take responsibility for getting good. And I got better. I got better. I wouldn't say I'm good yet, but I'm much better.
Or if you're already able to dance and like hold at least one song, you're pretty good.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. We should dance together when you come up for the event.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. That's how we learn, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Well, man, thank you so much for sharing your experience and being here with us and sharing, use Capoeira experience. That's part of this.
Yeah, thank you, Kashishi. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, of course, man. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you next week.
Sounds good. I'm super excited.
Ashe, man. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for getting this far. Remember, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook or YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is going to help us and help me to get bigger numbers and bigger subscribers so we can give more information. Okay, please, if you're listening, I know you're listening, I know you're watching, please give me a subscribe, give me a like. Okay, I know you're watching right here or listening. All right, have an amazing day. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening every single episode, especially the episode we just did. All right, thank you so much. Peace.